Alright, what everyone's been waiting for. You love to see him on your team, you hate to see him against you. We're here to talk about the eccentric brawler himself, X. Get ready for some explosive gameplay where X 1v3s the entire enemy team. Wait, we're not here to talk about X? Oh, that's weird. We have all this footage lined up. Then who are we talking about today? Dubu? Oh, fuck. Well, I guess that means we're getting into another tier list, so let's have at it. Alright, who's ready for another tier list? This time I'm going to be looking at our tofu-loving hamster boy, Dubu. Dubu is usually played as a goalie, though people seem to like to think otherwise and play him forward constantly. I don't know why, but you guys do it, and you know what? More power to you. Give you a little breakdown after I go through some of his sillier and more useless options, and let's get right to it. Alright, so useless. I'm going to throw this, and there's only one, but I'm going to throw Deadeye in there. Deadeye, he creates projectile, like he has creation projectiles as both his special and his primary, but they do not go the distance required to trigger Deadeye. So it is absolutely useless. Like, I don't even think you can get the range required, even if you choose, like, say, missile propulsion or having aerials. Like, I don't think you can really ever get that high enough range for him to actually get use out of Deadeye, and that's really committing. Speaking of committing to something funny, I'm throwing these all down here. I find Dubu's dash effective as it is. It does what you need to do, cover some of that light distance that you need. It does its job. Making it go further is a little bit tricky. I've done it with the quick play ones where everyone's dash ability, where you get all three of these, and it's just absurd. Everyone's dashes is fucking ridiculous, but Dubu's is very hard to really actually get good use out of any of these. So if you want to see some goofy hamster guy running around and dashing like a fucking madman and very much so overcommitting to his dash, then get these. Otherwise, just I'd say avoid them. You're a goalie. You don't need to do a crazy dash. It's silly. All right, with that out of the way, let's talk about gear. Dubu's he's big, so why not make him bigger? If you don't like being big, do the other thing where you make him a bit faster. And if you don't like that, then just go with Strike Shot. There's nothing wrong with that. I love Strike Shot personally. Powerhouse Pauldron is probably my second, but you know, they're all very good choices. He does lack speed. Like, he's a big boy. He's a little sluggish in net. So the boots do get used. Strike Shot is also very good. Like, they're all just good options. It's personal preference, really. And let's just get this out of the way. I know you're probably not gonna need these as a goalie. Sometimes, you know, you got an over aggressive X or something on their enemy team. Go X. Like, you're probably not gonna need these unless, like, they're really trying to go for you. I'm gonna change the color. I like it red. Okay. Yeah, you're probably not gonna need the brawler items, but just in case, you could always take the Unstoppable or Swagger Stagger, and it'll keep you healthy. I'm talking about Dubu. Phoenix is a little antsy. Alright, so let's just talk a brief overview before I get into C tier. Dubu, he's a great goalie. He's pretty much how most people learn goalie in the game, let's be fair. I feel like he's got a little bit of a wind up to his abilities. Like, I feel like it's a little slow coming out, but as long as if your prediction game is on and you're using your abilities at least early enough, you won't struggle and you won't be caught in a cast time. And his size is ridiculous to shut down a lot of, like, just strikers. If you just get a little bit around them, you'll smack it by them. His size, it increases his strike zone so much, and a lot of the better item or better awakenings that I'll talk about just do just that. He's massive. He's a little slow, but hopefully when you get some of these good awakenings, you'll kind of make up for it. He's really great at defending. Like, on Demon Dias or Atlas's lab. He's a solid defender. If you got one barrier left, he can defend that so hard. So he's always a solid goalie, and let's see what we can do to make him better. Well, what I'll put in situational is very straightforward. He doesn't really do any, he's not there to do damage or back you up with damage. He's there to just make a solid foundation in net and be just unmovable. So I'm throwing pretty much every one of these stagger increasing or damage dealing items or awakenings in there. Prize Fighter, 1-2 punch, Stinger, sadly, rest in peace Stinger, and Perfect Form. Can't get Perfect Form, 1-2 punch, or Prize Fighter right now, so that's whatever. But he doesn't really benefit. He's not going to get kills, so Adrenaline Rush only gives him like 1 second cooldown reduction. Not great. Bulk Up, he doesn't need the increased stagger and damage from having higher stagger. It doesn't really do him good. Specialized Training is also not very, like them hitting the wall. Like you can shoot out the wall and it can do a good chunk of damage, but it's not going to do you any good. You have to use it defensively rather than offensively. Heavy Impact as well. You're not doing multi-hits. Maybe with your dash or your secondary, but generally making your impacts hit harder, not particularly great. Again, Prize Fighter, you're not going to probably get kills. Can't take it anyways, but whatever. Stinger, sadly, you'd have to really try your hardest to get people to run into your little spindle that you put out. So you can throw like you can rack up some damage, but again it'd be pretty difficult as a Dubu goalie. But it still might be worth it. Stinger a little bit ahead of everything else. And Perfect Form, again, can't take it. Sucks, but it would be nice for a little bit of cooldown reduction. But again, it was definitely better for stuff like that. And Tempo Swing, again, a little bit more damage, a little bit of heal, but again, you're not going to need it. So very situational. I doubt you should pick any of these over anything else. I think that pretty much covers that. Okay, let's just get into some just generally good stuff. Quick Strike. You're a goalie, striking more, always better. Let's throw Hot Shot in there. Hot Shot, you know, pretty decent cooldown reduction. Good little speed boost too. If it you know, throw out your spindle as a good defense or throw out your wall, you're gonna get some good cooldown reduction on all those abilities when they throw it back at you. You'll have some good uptime as long as you're using your abilities to hit the core and you're making saves. So you'll get really good, decent use out of it for sure. Missile Propulsion gives your primary a little bit more range and a little more impact, which is always nice. If you can if you hit the core with it, it's really good. But if you just let it linger, I don't know if it gets the benefit from it, but I'm pretty sure it should. So yep, giving the spindle a little bit more range. Primary, I'm gonna say primary. It's not a spindle. It looks it's just a little weird wooden thing they put out. I don't know what it's actually called, but either way. Peak Performance. Dubu's one weakness is that he's kind of slow. This really helps with it, and it does pair well with some other ones that we're going to be talking about later on. And yeah, last but not least, Glass Cannon. Another good speed increase. Also gives you a little bit of power too, so solid picks all around. All right, covers B tier pretty good. You know, some generally good use, like good goalie stuff, and more so focusing on the speed or cooldown reductions. Maybe a little range. I don't know. It's more of like your playstyle. If you like the more range on your primary, then yeah, for sure. All right, now we're gonna get into the solid as fuck, also known as A tier. These are what would really help him out more so in the longevity of things in the game. And a lot of them focus on making his creations last longer and his size bigger. And some speed, like pretty much everything he's lacking. So we're gonna throw up Big Fish, built different, bigger size, bigger strike range, harder to get by. You'll be an unstoppable, immovable wall. Speaking of walling, Last to Last, Timeless Creator, Monumentalist, pretty solid. Gives him all of his creations longer durations, bigger radius. Like they're just like that's kind of what he needs, and literally augment all of his abilities pretty much except for his dash, which we don't really consider. I wouldn't consider enhancing. I would choose those as a very last resort. Super Surge, Aerials, and Chrono Boost, but and then two others belong here. We're gonna throw Rapid Fire. Gives his primary a little bit more cooldown reduction, which is always nice for him. He can keep the ball a little more forward, be a little more proactive with his play style. Stacks on stacks. It'll be very easy to get stacks, I believe. I do play decent Dubu. I'm all right. He was my first goalie, so I got some good practice. So like you do get good hits, you get a good amount of hits. So stacks on stacks will rack up pretty fast for you. You'll get that movement speed, which he fucking definitely needs, and you'll be good to go. All right. So that covers pretty much what I'm kind of going with here. And these are more in the S tier. We're going to be focusing more on similar things. It's basically more of a proactive style, and these will help like augment everything else. So like, yeah, you probably won't get all three of these for sure, but these all kind of augment with the other ones in A tier that helps excel Dubu at being a solid as hell defender, as well as makes him a little more proactive, so he's able to help out his team, keep the core forward, keep the pressure going. Yeah, let's get right into the S tier. I mean, we already know what's left, so prime time. Giving that primary another charge, and hitting harder. Oh, running up mid, throwing it to shut down somebody that you might get past your forward. But not with your primary there, not with it lingering. So always having another charge, that's so good, so proactive. I'm just gonna keep saying proactive. It feels good to be more out there and trying to do more things as a goalie rather than just kind of sit there and linger about, So that's always good. Twin Drive gives another charge to your secondary, which fantastic. We're not augmenting it in any way because that would be it'd be a little too hard to control at that point, I think. But that gives him a much needed mobility boost if he needs to. Like it's more like emergency cases, but it does help immensely with being able to reposition quickly in the net. And then extra special, having the wall up and available as often as possible. It shuts you down. You have to wait to get around it. So if you have something like Timeless Creator, Cast the Last, those things are going to linger, and it's just going to prolong your defensive arsenal, and hopefully forwards come to help you out and you make plays off of it. So always having your wall ready to go. Hell yeah. That's what we're all about with Dubu. Just holding our ground and just keeping the goal safe. Yeah, that's my goalie Dubu. I think if I were to play him as forward, which again probably not, I would go for definitely more of like an offensive approach. Maybe like adding more offensive options. I'm not gonna really switch these things around. It's a goalie. He's a goalie. I don't care, guys. I know Dubu is everyone can play everything, but I feel like Dubu should stay in it where he really excels. Again, forward, I would maybe like give him like, again, still prime time, but maybe get a little more offensive. Maybe go like Stinger and have more range or something. Still with the side, like I don't know, like everything kind of still seems like he could get away with as a forward. But really, play him in net. But you can use the same kind of stuff for forward too. Everything he has still makes him a good forward. Good-ish forward. Well, thanks everyone for sticking in there. Here's another tier list in the bag. I hope this helps anyone who needs it. This one sorely lacked a bunch of X content, so let's give you what you want. Wow.
That's a lot of damage.
Perfect.
Well, this is the one true Sir Salty checking out for the day. Thanks again, and take care, you legends. Have a good night.